Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mudlick Creek Garage. And this here behind me is my 1997 Jeep Cherokee. So this here Jeep is my winter beater, and it has some unibody issues. So in this video, we're going to go over how to fix the unibody of your Jeep Cherokee right where the filler nut goes through the frame. Let's get you in and take a better look. So at first glance, you can already tell that the rear end of this Jeep has seen some better days. Let's take a look at where she's rotted out. So right here is our issue, and if I was to tell you this is common on Jeeps, I'd be lying. It should basically just be expected. So this is a known thing, and this all through here is very soft, all the way back to the shackle mount. So for now, because this is a winter beater, we're just gonna go through and we're gonna plate the sides, plate the bottom, and the inside's actually still good. And we're just gonna make sure to clean in here every time we wash the Jeep. So let's start by getting this thing up on jack stands. So now we got the old machine up here on the highest quality jack stands known to man, Harbor Freight, the non-recalled flavor. Now we can pull the wheel off and get a better look at that frame. Time. Basically a NASCAR pit crew. So now we have a better look at the situation. So we can see that we're gonna have to pull the gas tank out, which I would recommend regardless, because everybody loves working around gas fumes with welders and grinders and all that. And we can see that the top portion of this is a little crispy, but she's pretty solid. So the way I would like to do this, but we're not going to do it at this point, we're going to do it maybe next season if it ever has an issue again, is really cut this tube right here and rebuild everything from there back. It's 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. But for the sake of this, and being a winter beater, we're just going to take a template. We're going to cut all this out, put some paint in there so hopefully it quits rusting, drop the hitch, and just kind of rebuild on this with some plate steel. So first step in all this is get your gas tank out of here. So there's 2 bolts. There's one here and one down there. You're going to have to probably use a wrench to start, and once she gets going, you're going to be able to get onto that with a deep well socket. Also, you got your fuel lines, which are tucked up in there. You're going to have to get them unclipped so we can drop this tank right out of here. Well, I guess less talking, more working. So I didn't really video getting the gas tank out because there's already a couple videos on YouTube of how to remove your gas tank. So let's take a peek under here and let's see this together for the first time, how bad the inside of this frame is. So here she be. She's definitely crunchy on the inside. There's no holes. But I think we're gonna throw a plate over it just to make sure. Yeah, she's definitely scaly. Let's yank this hitch off. So now that we got the trailer hitch off, we can see that this entire bottom is not doing the greatest. We're probably gonna have to come in here, cut about right here, all the way to about right here, and grind all that out, and put a piece of bar stock in here and weld it solid. Let me get at that all with a wire brush. Let me cut all the junk we know is junk out and wire brush it and see how much it's covered there is actually junk. Now that you have everything wire brushed and all the rust cut out, you need to make a decision. And you need to determine, is this something that's worth patching or something that is worth actually going through and cutting here, and replacing. So this one is right on the edge of both, but because this is just going to be a winter beater and trail rig, I need this to be strong, but it doesn't need to be absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not trying to keep this Jeep for a long time, but I still want to do a quality repair. And one thing you also have to take into account is if it's going on the road, there's people with their families out there, and you don't want to be the one to have a repair fail and somebody die. That's not a good situation. So be vigilant and think about that stuff. So let's take a look at the other side where this is actually bad. So here is the bad side. Essentially, this entire top is gone. So unless we replace that, it will eventually re-rust, but we're just gonna be careful and wash and be vigilant about it, because I'm not gonna go through and repair that. But I'm gonna put a plate that starts all the way back here. We're gonna weld it to the inside of that shackle. And we're gonna run that plate all the way up to here, and we're gonna curve it right around here. And then on the bottom side, we're gonna lay a plate in that will run just like so and fill up all that busted area. So let's get the cardboard out and start making templates. So now we have our first template piece. We're gonna trace this out here on our sheet steel. Close enough. Get her in here a little bit better. But now we're gonna take the plasma cutter and we're just gonna zip this out. Now don't be discouraged if you don't have a plasma. You can do all what I'm gonna do now with a grinder. So let's get this piece cut out, we'll get this tacked in, and then we'll start mocking up our next chunk. So I'd like to apologize. I got on a roll here and just kind of went after it. But we have our first piece in here. Now, one thing you're gonna have to remember is you are welding to a crappy frame. So number one, you're gonna blow through in places more than likely, because if the frame was perfect, you wouldn't be here. And number two, no matter how much cleaning you do, you can never get it nearly clean enough. So this is about the best weld you're probably gonna ever lay down on a frame, unless you're a real professional. But be ready to settle for stuff like that that's good hot and a very strong weld, but it's not gonna win any beauty competitions. So I have this side all in and the bottom all plated. So technically right now I could call this done, but I am gonna plate the inside, and I'm gonna show you why, and I'm also gonna show you what I'm gonna do to add strength to the inside of this frame. So here's my plate that goes on the inside of the frame, and because there is a significant amount of good metal back here, it allows me to do what they call a plug or a rivet weld. So what I'm gonna do is, of course, you weld around the outside just as you would like I did in the other side, but you're also gonna tie into all these different little holes. You're gonna fill those full of weld. That is because when you span from here to here with a weld, right, it's essentially kind of taking all of this good metal out of the equation, but this piece can bow in and out. Whereas if we rivet weld it or plug weld it onto the frame, it's essentially tied all this frame in together, and it's using the good metal that's still there that Jeep initially put there, and all we're doing is making it stronger. So let's get this welded up and I will be back to see you guys. So we're back and I have all of this welded in. Every plug weld's full and all the way around the perimeter. Don't get hung up on making the most beautiful welds. A lot of this, you got to remember, you're in here because the frame's bad already, so you're going to blow through. So just tack your way along. Just as soon as it cools, hit the next one. So on and so forth, all the way through. Sometimes you'll blow through and have to work a little bit around some stuff. But so now essentially what this plate's done is it's tied all of this in together. So it's basically given that inside panel as much strength as humanly possible to support the outside panel, which is put together significantly better than, well, what was there, of course. So at this point, your frame has completely been reinforced, and what you're gonna have to do, put the fuel tank back in. Actually, before I put the fuel tank in, I'm gonna fit this hitch because I gotta drill a hole in here, and I left the nut thing in the frame there, so should line right back up. So let's get that hitch on. So now everything's been all installed, welded, ground down, painted. Fill-N-X back through its hole. I drilled the hole up in there so that way we can bolt our hitch on. The rest of the hitch bolts still use their factory holes. Everything is all good and tight. We can throw the gas tank in and you will be back on the road. So, all right, everyone. If you liked what you've seen, please hit subscribe, and thank you all for watching Mudlick Creek Garage.